Hello, everyone. This is Will.
Woo! This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out at Night.
Oh, baby. Mostly.
Ugh, we got a good one for you.
We really do.
But before we get into the good one,
please
go to any podcast streaming service and just give us a good old subscribe, like us, comment, follow, whatever you do. Okay?
Yeah, you want to have a talk with us? Go ahead.
Go on YouTube. Give us a subscribe there, okay? Maybe like some videos. I don't know. Not videos, but they're kind of videos, but they're not really. They're more audio files. Listen, you can listen to us while you're doing the dishes, or you can listen to us while you're,
at the
hanging
gym.
out
I don't
at the
care.
gym. Well, just put us on. You know you like our reviews,
And
so...
we're not gonna there's no stressful bullshit. You'll
No.
just have a nice little escape for about 50 minutes to an hour per episode, and it's fine.
and it's free.
It's totally.
That's the beauty of it too.
Always be free.
Yep, for free.
Always.
So please go and subscribe. Really helps us out. So we can keep creating this content for you and making good stuff like this.
Like this.
I feel like this is going to be a good review. So if you want more stuff like this, subscribe so we can continue this podcast. I mean, we probably would do it even if we had 0 followers, but we appreciate all of you.
Because here's the thing, we do love what we do. We love these movies, so we will continue doing this.
Yes, exactly.
Regardless.
So now, as we get into it, tonight we watched an absolutely bonkers movie.
This was a gem.
I did not expect to like this movie as much as I did. It's really good. Ghost Warrior.
Ghost Warrior.
Now, for all you nerds, you weebs out there, like myself, if you know what a little franchise, well, not little, it's definitely not little. If you know what a franchise named Kamen Rider is, you will recognize. I have to do this. Okay.
I did tell you this, so.
You did, and I did recognize him, so I probably would have.
Because before the movie started, before we watched the movie today, before I came over to our studio, I looked up this man, and of course, the first thing that fucking pops up on IMDb, Kamen Rider.
And you know that I am a big fan of very popular Japanese superhero shit. So, I love Super Sentai. I've dabbled in Kamen Rider a little bit, but not like a huge extent. But I did recognize the guy. I love Ultraman too, by the way. Like, Ultraman is fucking awesome. But I did recognize the guy. And he's a good actor, but it's kind of funny. It's an American movie made by an American man.
Yeah.
And it has, our protagonist is literally, and I'm sorry to get into spoilers right away, because it's not a big spoiler. It doesn't ruin the movie.
I was gonna say, is it a spoiler?
No.
Not really. It's the plot of the movie.
But literally, our protagonist literally does not speak an entire word of English.
I guarantee you, yeah, he's probably not even fluent at all.
By this point, they might have been. I don't know. Kamen Rider was I'm trying to remember because, like I said, I'm not the biggest Kamen Rider, so I don't want anyone to come after me. But they did adapt Kamen Rider into an American series at one point, but I don't think it was the original Kamen Rider. I think they adapted Kamen Rider. I think they adapted Kamen Rider Black, if I'm not mistaken, into an American series, kind of like they did with Power Rangers.
I think Kamen Rider Black came after this movie.
Yeah, Kamen Rider Black did come out in the 90s.
Yeah,
in the 2000s. So, it wasn't Kamen Rider Black, obviously. Yeah. He was in one of the original iterations of Kamen Rider. Yeah,
he was in Kamen Rider from what I saw throughout the 70s.
Yeah, so Kamen Rider's been around for a long time, just like Super Sentai. That's not this podcast, though. So I won't go off on a tangent right now. But anyway, so yeah, he is pretty recognizable if you're into that nerd shit.
If you're a nerd.
If you're a giant nerd, you will recognize him. But beyond that, I think we have a very competent B movie here. I think it's really good. It's very well made. Surprisingly,
it's only an hour and 21 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't waste your time. Now, I will admit, before we get like too far into it, if you do want to find this, it is extremely hard to find.
I saw you can watch it. I think there's a version on YouTube, but I don't think it's good quality from what I could see. I know, like, if you Google this movie, there's like a link to watch it on Amazon Prime, but you have to have like some sort of weird like subscription service that I've never heard of.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth a watch if you can find it.
If you can get a hold of this obscure madness, please do. I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah, that's what I just have to say before we get into it. Like, Kamen Rider fame, it deals with Japanese samurai. So if that tickles your fancy, I don't think you'll have a bad time.
If all that plus like 80s shenanigans is something that appeals to you, which if you're listening to this podcast, it probably does.
Should. Yeah, if you continue to follow us, you know what you're in.
You know what we like. So this, yeah.
So let's get into Ghost Warrior. So we start on a snowy mountain. We get people like not dragging, but they have it's a bunch of Japanese soldiers, and they have this woman
tied up,
and they're carrying her across this mountainous scape.
It's set in this. It's the 16th century Japan.
It's like 1554, something like that. Very feudal era, obviously. Or I don't know. Sorry, I apologize if I say
we're not historians.
We're not historians. I'm not. Don't quote me on that, please. And I'm sorry. Don't come after me if I said the wrong era.
Please leave us alone.
please. I'm sorry.
Have mercy.
So they're dragging her. They're like taking her somewhere, and then all of a sudden they get ambushed by another samurai. And he comes out and he slashes a couple of them, and they're all on horseback, and it's like this kind of cool like horseback scene. And then he takes her and like puts her on the back of his horse, and they go up to a cliff.
It's an even more like snowy mountain. They're on a cliffside, and there's like a bunch of soldiers in front of them blocking them off, and soldiers chasing them.
So he gets off his horse and fights presumably the clan leader, or
the leader of this clan.
The leader of the clan that's it's a rival clan. You learn later. It's not a spoiler. It's pretty apparent.
Yeah.
So they're fighting. He gets the upper, like the samurai that saved the woman gets the upper hand, is about to kill the guy. And again, all this dialogue is in Japanese.
It's in Japanese, yes.
I really commend them because they didn't do like English actors.
No.
Like, it's all Japanese.
Yeah.
With no subtitles, which I would have liked some subtitles, but you get what's happening. Like, obviously you get the context of the scene without knowing what they're saying. So he's about to kill the guy, and he's like basically begging for mercy.
Yeah.
And so the samurai takes mercy on him.
Turns around,
and the guy throws a knife into the woman. Kills the woman, and then like an archer takes out the samurai.
And he like hits him.
Well,
in the chest,
yeah.
And the samurai falls off a cliff into a like very frozen lake.
Yep, and then we see him sinking to the bottom, and then it goes to present day Japan, same mountain.
There's like two hikers, and they go in this cave, and
I should say, while this is our opening credits, it's showing all the makers of the film, and what's really cool, I think, is the guy that played the samurai, like our Kamen Rider guy, it's
top build.
He's top build. Like he's top of the first credits and top of the last credits.
Yeah.
Like they definitely made him the main character.
Yeah.
So they're looking through this cavern, and they have a flare. The guy sets it down, and it starts to melt away some of the snow. And the woman's sitting there waiting for him to like find some other. I guess I don't know what they're doing really, but they're just exploring the cavern. And then the snow melts away, and it reveals a hand, and she screams.
Yeah, and you see like our guy frozen through like a block of ice. Then it goes to Los Angeles, modern day, of course, and they brought.
So we get a voiceover because the woman we get our main woman, and she is explaining how she was fascinated by this samurai that they found in ice, and they brought him to Los Angeles to like dethaw him and see if they could revive him, basically.
Well, originally the guy, the institute or whatever, is supposed to perform an autopsy on him.
Right.
I don't remember the term, cryo health, something like that.
It was like American Institute of Cryosurgical
Cryosurgical Studies.
Yeah,
something like that.
Cryosurgical Studies, right?
And she is a expert in like Eastern cultures, all that kind of stuff. But she's there, and they've brought this guy. They've thawed him out, and they're gonna see if they can like revive him or something.
Yeah, so they're gonna see if they can dethaw him, and I guess in the thawing process, like potentially still do an autopsy just in case they can't revive him.
Yeah.
I don't know what they initially planned when they did dethaw him, but anyway.
I think they just wanted to dethaw him enough to be able to perform an autopsy.
Yeah. So he starts dethawing, and they're about to like perform, the autopsy, and then one of the doctors is like, wait, like, and then the heartbeat starts.
The heart monitor machine starts going off. He's alive.
So he like, instead of killing him, they take him to a room, and they basically monitor him until he wakes up.
In the meantime, also because he has all of his things.
Oh, and I should mention they also, I mean, it's kind of like the kickstart of the movie. The kickstart of the whole story. We have this dude that's kind of a fucking scumbag. So he's like oogling the woman as she first walks in, like undressing her with his eyes and stuff. You could tell.
They set this shit up.
And then they're talking about the swords. So she goes to like this old, like this antique store that specializes in like Japanese antiques. And she gets them appraised, and basically like, he tells her these are priceless, basically.
That it's like, this is a weapon of a great warrior.
Yeah, and it was made by a master swordsman.
Yeah.
Like a master swordsmith. Like, this is priceless, basically.
Yeah.
And she openly admits to the doctor, and this douchebag overhears. And she's like, these are worth more than most people make in their whole life.
This is also how like she finds out that this guy was like a big fucking samurai, essentially.
Yes. Well, we also get an understanding, I guess. Somehow she finds out his name is Yoshimitsu.
What he tells her.
Oh yeah, because but he's speaking like a dialect, or like a dialect that is like it's old.
Once like he wakes up eventually, and looks outside his window, he sees like horses, and it's like, okay, that's familiar. And then he looks up and sees a helicopter, freaks out. Like the nurse comes in, they all come in there, and he starts talking, and that's when the main doctor's like, okay, translate. She's like, I don't know, like
it's like I'm getting like every like other word kind of thing.
Yeah, like he just keeps talking, and eventually that's how she.
Yeah, but she calls him Yoshi.
Yeah.
So his name is Yoshimitsu, and she basically, through kind of like just different scenes, she's like watching over him basically. So
trying to get him adjusted.
Yeah, so she sets up his room like a.
She also tells him that she gives back all of his things.
Yeah.
So he doesn't feel like a prisoner.
Gives back his swords to like gain trust,
because,
and like
because he's a samurai and his weapon is like his soul.
It's an extension of him. Yes.
If you're up to your nerd shit,
Listen, this movie is up to some nerd shit, and it just keeps getting more and more nerdy.
The weebery is off the charts. Okay.
Like this director, like. Someone on the film crew that was very closely.
Someone watched a lot of Kurosawa movies and consumed the weebery.
Yes. Was very into samurais, you could tell.
Yes.
Someone that had a hand in making this, a big hand in making this, was very weeby.
Yes, and thank you. We got some madness out of it.
Yeah, we got a great movie.
Good one.
So she sets him up and everything's going fine. She's just monitoring him and everything until that our fucking asshole decides he's going to steal Yoshi's swords.
They're also trying to prove that he doesn't have like permanent brain damage or something.
Yeah. So she puts a bunch of like matching cards and he puts them like upside down and like
still matches them.
Basically shows that he is very adept.
Yeah.
And he knows a lot of shit.
But yeah, this guy, while our samurai is sleeping, guy comes in, tries to take it, and of course he fucking wakes up and fucks him up.
Well, at first he like smacks him around with like the sheath of his sword.
Yeah.
And then the guy like starts attacking him, and so he pulls out the sword and kills the guy.
Yeah.
And then he gets out.
He walks to like the area where they're all, it's like the lobby, I guess.
Yeah.
And there's a TV. It's playing like a clothing commercial at first. And then it starts playing we see the band Wasp, if you're into hair metal, which we both are. And it's Wasp singing, I believe, the song Tormentor.
It is the song Tormentor, yes.
And it's fantastic.
It's great. And little known fact, it's from a movie, so this is
the same year.
It's we're going to try and find it. It's called Dungeon Master.
We will hopefully have it on this podcast because it does fit our criteria.
Yeah, but it's a scene from that because it's the same production company.
But it also looks a lot like a music video.
A Wasp music video, yeah.
And I mean, that's not what it is. But yeah, the guy's like watching and he has no idea what the hell this is because it's a TV. But it's also just a great excuse for us to listen to Wasp.
Yeah. And he like has no idea, so he just flips it down and then walks away.
Yeah.
And so the woman comes out and so he walks out and he like, is this where he looks over?
Not yet.
Okay.
Because first, the woman's walking around, the like female nurse, and she finds the dead body. They call the main doctor and the lady doctor.
Right, because they just show some scenes of the samurai walking in like a neighborhood.
Yeah, like a car almost hits him.
A car almost hits him, and then he like is curious about another car and like lets the air pressure out.
Yeah, he deflates the tire. He
stabs one of them.
But then they're like they start looking for him, and this is where we get the scene where he's like walking through this neighborhood, and they have like this perfect little like section of this like cul-de-sac,
like a skyline of Los
Angeles, and it's just our dude dressed in full samurai garb just walks like framed
with like the full top knot and everything,
framed right in front of like the night skyline of LA.
That is great. Some fucking weeb anime shit.
And then like it's the next day, and he's walking through like downtown LA because it's like the shot of like this skyscraper, and it just pan downward to our guy. And then he's walking through like downtown LA and you hear commotion.
So he looks over and he sees an older man getting attacked by like this gang.
A bunch of ruffians, Will.
Yes.
And we knew what was going to happen.
So he's trying to fight them off, and then all of a sudden they're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And then like pans over and we see Yoshi walking towards them,
just not saying a word,
so the old guy's like, get out of here, like these guys are dangerous, like what are you doing?
He's just still walking.
Yep. And then they start trying to fight him, and he takes out 3 of them,
cuts off one of their arms,
wide angle shot, cuts off one of their arms, and then the final guy gets away. And so he helps the old guy up, and the old guy is like, I can't remember. He just like says something, and then it goes to the next scene where they're walking down the street.
They're like friendly now, and he's like, man, like I've been a soldier all my life, and I've never seen anything like that. And like he's like, I can tell you're also too. You're a warrior. And
he's like, you're not much of a talker. And he's like,
I do love when he like tries to shake his hand, and the guy is like, listen, I served in the Pacific Front, no hard feelings.
Yeah, that's great. So he's like, here, I'm gonna take you somewhere.
Another thing is they because they after they, at the institute, they find the dead body and everything. They call the cops.
Yeah.
And the cops are just like, what the fuck? This is nonsense.
And we get Detective Berger.
And he takes him to the police station. Then as they're sitting there, he gets a phone call.
I love how he's like, you're not going anywhere until you tell me the truth about what's really going on here.
And then like they get a phone call in the police station, like, hey, some guy say that there's some dude dressed like a samurai who just killed like 3 people. And then they're like, that's him.
We also get a scene of the bad guy, like the bad gang leader. He is following.
He's like following
Yoshi.
him, yeah.
So they go.
The guy's like, oh, listen, I got a place to show you.
The older man and Yoshi go into like a sushi restaurant, and like the old guy goes there all the time apparently because he knows all the sushi makers and everything, the sushi chefs, I should say, and they sit down, and I love this because like the guy sits down and like orders some beer, and while they're getting the beer, we see a couple in the corner, and the woman's like, "Is that Toshihiro Mafune?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think it is. I told you this place was hot."
That is a deep cut right there.
If you don't know who Toshihiro Mafune is, first of all, I'm very sorry. You should go check out some of his movies.
I mean, if you've watched any Akira Kurosawa movie,
he is
you will
absolutely amazing. I really love Toshihiro Mafune. He's great. He's great in High and Low, Seven Samurai. I could go on.
All of the movies.
Like Yojimbo. Like,
yeah.
I mean, just everything. He is so good. He's one of the best actors I think I've ever seen.
Ever, yeah.
I really like up there with like top 5 favorite actors.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, again, not that podcast. So the older guy is like, hey, like, why don't you try and like talk to him and see what's going on? So the sushi chef tries to talk to him, and then he talks to the sushi chef, and the guy's like, well, what is he saying? He's like, I don't know what kind of dialect he's using. Like,
I can only understand like every other word, but I can tell you this: that guy's wacko.
Mm-hmm.
And Yoshi starts drinking the beer, or he starts sniffing it.
Well, he gets like a memory.
Because as this goes on, like as the movie goes on, he keeps like remembering, kind of what led him to this. So now he remembers that there was this woman that he was in love with, and that's when the ruffians, they start throwing like rocks and shit through the window of the sushi restaurant.
I love how all this is going on. Like this whole commotion is going on. Everyone's ducking under like tables to protect themselves, and Yoshi is just sitting there.
He doesn't give a fuck.
Just fucking drinking his soup and like just doesn't fucking care at all.
Not at all. And they were like, "Come on, like, come on, follow us here." And there's like this abandoned building across the street. So they go in there. He follows. Of course, I mean, listen. Any good movie, especially from...
Oh, I forgot to mention just real quick, a very sentimental scene is coming up, so
yes.
We need to understand where it's coming from. The old man, after he gets saved, grabs the guy's hand and like puts while they're in the sushi restaurant before the rocks get thrown, he grabs his like hand with like Yoshi's hand with both of his hands. He's like, "You're a friend."
Yeah,
you're a friend.
Like shaking his hand.
You saved my life. You're my friend.
Yeah.
And that'll come into play soon.
So
I just wanted to mention that.
But any great like fucking violent action movie from like the 80s or 90s, if your person being like the hero, so to speak, is of a minority group, if you're making a good movie, what you have to do is your fucking dickhead villains have to like throw slurs at them. Yeah. Then when they get fucking wrecked, you just feel so much better.
Because he goes into this like dark, gloomy, abandoned warehouse with fog all over.
Fog and like lights and very strategic places.
Very cinematically
makes it
set.
Look very beautiful.
So he goes in there, and the guys are taunting him, calling him all these racist things. And they're trying to like goat him into like getting into the middle so they can shoot
There's
him.
a guy that he's on a motorcycle. He like attacks him, and he gets fucking sliced in half.
He literally gets like fucking fricasseed in half.
Yeah, it's great. And then there's another guy. He's got like he's looking for him with a gun, and the old man follows Yoshi into this place, and he ends up knocking the guy out as like and he does like he like nods to him like he's a fellow warrior, so to speak. And the last guy is just there, and he's like, "Hey man, come on, I give up," like all this stuff. And he sees the old man, and he shoots him in the leg. And then our samurai
he pulls out a fan and just casually starts walking towards the guy.
And the guy's like, "What the fuck?"
He's like, "You know what? Fuck this. This ends now." And he like pulls the hammer back on the revolver and is about to shoot. And like just as he's about to shoot, Yoshi takes out a throwing dagger and throws it right into his fucking eye.
Into his eye, yeah.
And the guy like collapses onto the ground. So Yoshi goes and finds his friend, and he like makes a tourniquate for him and watches
As
over
all
him.
this is happening, the woman is the woman like doctor scientist is there because basically up till now what you get the impression of is that she's like sympathetic to him.
She wants to help him.
That he's like fish out of water. He's not trying to hurt anybody.
Well, like she understands that he's literally from a completely different time period and has no idea how the fuck to act in modern society.
Whereas the male scientist is like just like, okay, we just need to catch it, like kill him and end this. But she's there, and she tells him like the cops are coming, you have to leave, you have to go, and this is when your payoff happens.
Yeah.
Our guy, he like, you know, he's like, yeah, go ahead. Like, I'm fine. And this is when he shakes his hand. Like
the old guy did in the sushi restaurant.
And he gives him a sword.
He gives him the smaller sword.
Yeah.
And the woman reassures him, your friend will be fine. You know, you need to go because you know, like your friend, nothing will happen to your friend, but you need to leave.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a nice little, I don't know, nice little moment that shows you that, you know, they cared about this movie when they were making this thing. But he leaves, and after this,
so they go. So you don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
But the woman takes the samurai out of there before the police come, and then we get the laboratory. They're talking about how
no one can find him.
The woman took the samurai. They don't know where she is, and the guy's like, "Okay, well, like we need."
He's like, "I know where she took him."
Well, at this point, he's like, "This is like a huge like problem. We're just gonna have to eliminate him, basically."
Because basically, the other thing is that they haven't told anybody that this guy woke up.
Yeah,
that he's revived.
Like people think, like the police just think he's like a mass murderer at this point.
Yeah, because from what they've told people, they found a fucking icicle, a guy frozen, and that's it.
But they haven't told anyone like what they're doing. So obviously they want to nip this in the bud before it gets a huge into a huge thing.
But he's like, "Oh, I know where she took him," and it's the like the Japanese antique shop.
Yep. So he actually the antique store owner knows like kind of like the story of Yoshi.
Because the other thing is that, I mean, the implication is before this scene he told him.
Well, and since this guy's like very well knowledged in like ancient Japan, he knows like the dialect, and he knows like he understands what's going on.
He basically tells her like that, you know, he was a great warrior. He fell in love with this woman. And he didn't want to be he didn't want to fight anymore. But a rival clan, like
her name's Chidori, I think
so. But a rival clan kidnapped her, and you know, he saw her die right in front of his eyes, and
and he's like, this is a samurai. Like we need to let him choose how he wants to like live, basically.
Yeah, and like she's saying like, well, we have to we have to protect him because, like, how is he going to survive? And yeah, that's when he tells her, like, well, he has to be the one to choose.
Yeah, he has to choose whether to adapt or die, basically.
And then he goes out to, like, buy some groceries or something, and she, like,
makes him a cup noodle,
and he sees, like, how light bulb works. The main scientist shows up with some goons.
Well, they kind of trick him because, like, they attack him outside of, like, where he is, and he takes out those two dudes, and then the one guy stuns him with, like, a taser.
A taser, yeah. And so they take him into this van, and they're driving, and he's like, he's saying, like, okay, well, we
need to do the autopsy now. We're gonna just kill him. We're gonna execute him in the back of this van.
And all we were paid to do is just to perform an autopsy on this guy. That's it.
So basically, what they're gonna do is,
inject him with air.
Yeah, do a medical suicide. Not really medical, but like they're gonna just inject him with air so it goes into his bloodstream and he dies because it's untraceable. Yeah. Meanwhile, the old antique owner, the antique store owner, calls Burger and leaves a message.
They said that he's like the main detective who's assigned to the killer samurai case.
And he says the doctors have taken the samurai, and another guy answers and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What samurai? What the fuck?
And so he takes them to know, but he has no fucking idea what he's talking about. So now we get, like, the woman is in the back of the van, and they're about to, like, inject him with air.
She stops them.
And she starts, like, they start fighting in the back, and she pulls out the sword, slices one of the guys, and then Yoshi wakes up.
Yeah.
So Yoshi wakes up. One of the the driver unhooks like a
fire extinguisher, and he smacks her on the back of the head.
And so that pisses him off. So
Yoshi has the sword.
He stabs the guy driving,
and of course they fucking crash and flip over. They're outside now. They're all, like, injured. Yoshi like slashes one of the guys,
and he's about to kill the main scientist guy. And he, like, swings down, but then stops. And she tells him to stop.
Yeah.
And he's kind of remembering, like, what happened. And he's, like, you can tell he's, like, contemplating whether to kill this guy or not. But he doesn't. And then they run away.
And this is when Detective Berger finds out about this. So all the cops are up there looking for this guy. They end up at, like, a little, like, ranch thing.
They find
a horse.
There's another voiceover where she's impressed because he just basically goes off instinct, and he knows, like, how to saddle a horse because he knew how to saddle a horse then, and all that stuff. More character building for both of them, basically.
This is also where you kind of start to see where it's going.
You see the parallels they're trying to draw.
Because now it's like you have him on a horse again. There's the woman. But they're, like, they're riding around. It's like it's nighttime now. They're looking for them, and the scientist guy, he ends up taking a shotgun.
Well, because he hears where like, which direction like Yoshi and the girl are, like, the woman are headed, and so he grabs a shotgun because he's just like, I need to fucking finish this, like,
yeah.
And so he, like, gets in his, like, car and drives up the mountain, and they catch Yoshi with a helicopter for a minute, but then Yoshi loses them, and then
at this point they have the woman. The cops have her.
Yeah, so she's trying to catch up with Yoshi, but
and there's, like, a scene where after he's lost the helicopter, where he's, like, on horseback, and he sees, like, the cops leading her, and you immediately get, like, flashbacks to when the rival samurais were leading the woman he fell in love with.
So he saves her. He, like, beats up a bunch of cops, and then
on horseback again.
Yep, and it even shows the scene again from the beginning. And then she gets on the back of his horse, just like in the beginning, and they ride up the mountain.
And the main scientist guy is waiting there for them with a shotgun.
Yeah, but he's pointing the shotgun at them, and he's like, "Stop! This needs to end now. Like, we need to end this." And then he gets off Yoshi gets off the horse, and is, like, walking towards the guy, and the shotgun jams, and, like, he's looking at it, And Yoshi knocks him to the ground and does like is gonna slash him again, but then doesn't.
Yeah.
And then Burger shows up and
they
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. So Yoshi's walking away back
Yeah.
to the woman, and the scientist guy gets up and holds the shot. He's gonna like beat the Yoshi with the shotgun butt.
But she yells, and he turns around and just slashes him right down the chest.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy dies. This is where all the cops show up.
And then Burger shoots him in the chest.
He shoots him once, and he starts like stumbling around, and like is about to like almost attack, and she's like stop, and like the cops like they're about to shoot him, but they don't. And he looks at her and like he says something in Japanese. And again, we're on the cliffside.
Falls off the cliff.
Falls off the cliff into the water.
Yep.
And then, they're just like looking at the water, and the cop's like, "What did he say to you?" And she says, "He said there's no second chances. The way of the samurai is death."
Yeah. In the way of the samurai, there is only death.
There is only death. Yeah.
Yep.
Come back full circle. End film.
Wow. I did not know what to expect because you told me kind of the synopsis, like a brief synopsis before we started watching this, and like
that's usually all I get from
I was like okay, like it could be good or it could be really bad. I was maybe expecting something a little bit worse.
That's the joy of the podcast, Will, is we really don't know.
Now I could see how some people would think this was boring because there's not like a ton of action in it. It's more of like I would almost maybe say a character study.
It's like, I don't know. There's not like you said, there's not a ton of action, but there's enough like kind of put in like sporadically to like keep you interested.
Well, I think it's a very interesting movie to watch. It's like it's really I don't know. Like in my opinion, I thought it was really well done. I thought the cinematography was really well done. Whoever did the camera work did an awesome job. The score was like an actual orchestra.
They had the Royal Philharmonic is credited
with the soundtrack. Like it's kind of crazy
for a little low budget movie.
The acting is really decent, to be honest. Like you don't get any big actors, obviously, except for like this guy is big in Japan,
yeah.
But it's not like he's big in the United States at this point, because in the 80s, a lot of Americans I don't think knew exactly what like Kamen Rider was.
I cannot imagine anybody knew.
I mean, it's a huge franchise in Japan, but like a lot of it didn't get to U.S. audiences back then.
This I don't imagine any of that stuff really became known to anybody in the States until like the 90s when Power Rangers basically.
Yeah, that's when it got popular, when they decided to use the Japanese footage for their action scenes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it was really well done. It's a really good, like, fish out of water action movie, because the action sequences are done pretty well. They're kind of few and far between, but there's enough in my opinion, to keep you interested through the whole movie, and you want to know where it's going. Like you want to know what's going to happen.
It definitely keeps you invested, like in this samurai guy who, and again, it's like they do a good job because he literally does not speak a single word of English through the whole movie, but like you're still invested in him and where this goes, because the way like at the synopsis, I thought that it almost sounded like he would be like a villain.
Yeah, I thought I kind of thought they would go either way with that. Like I didn't know whether they were going to make him like a fish out of water where he goes ballistic and just starts killing people. I thought it was going to be
like they have a samurai in modern day and he wakes up and just starts murdering indiscriminately. Right. Like I thought that's what it was going to be. But instead it's like he's not really a bad guy.
I would say he's like just
lost.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he's just doing what instinctually a samurai from 1554 would do in modern day,
Yeah.
like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That would never happen. So the fucking concept is insane.
It's great.
But I don't know. I think they executed it pretty well, and I'm kind of glad that in a way that the samurai didn't like they didn't have him go like ballistic and like kill a bunch of people, because that probably would have been entertaining to see, but I don't think it would have been as interesting of a movie.
Yeah, it does make it a little more unique. For,
Yeah.
an action
It's a good concept. I did like it. Like it's not like obviously my favorite movie ever, but like I did like it, and I think it's like well worth a watch.
It's worth a watch, and I mean, it's not. I don't know. I can't imagine. Maybe I'm just a fucking lizard brain. I can't imagine anybody watching this and being like annoyed.
I kind of could see if people like maybe thought it was too slow, because there are parts that like do a lot of like character building, especially the beginning.
Kind of, but it's like, I mean, I swear to God, it's because again, it's an hour and 21 minutes.
They don't waste a lot of time.
Thawed in like it's probably like the 15-minute mark, and then maybe like the 23-minute mark, you get your first death.
Yeah.
So it is fucking go.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I think it was really well done, especially for a B movie. Like, there's a lot worse ways to spend an hour and 21 minutes.
Yeah, like, for example, you could watch Black Devil Doll from Hell.
You had to mention that movie, didn't you?
Well, I'm pretty sure. Hold on. I'm gonna look it up. I was gonna say I think that movie is a little shorter than this, but I might be completely fucking wrong. I could be wrong.
It felt longer. That movie
Let me
did.
see, because we watched. Do not forget, sir. We watched the director's cut.
Yeah, I remember.
Director's mother. Fuck. It was longer. Black Devil Doll from Hell was an hour and 27 minutes.
Oh, God, it was 6 minutes longer.
Minutes longer than this.
Wow.
What the fuck?
Shitty to pretty. This is gonna pretty. I mean, obviously, it's gonna get pretty high scores. It's not shitty at all.
No, it's horrible. It's a 1.
Yeah, 1.
This is the worst film I've ever seen.
And Black Devil Doll from Hell deserves a 10. 10 out of 10.
Black Devil Doll from Hell was meticulously made, and it was
and not boring and stupid and
it was a great film.
annoying.
It was about family, and that's what makes it so powerful. Black Devil Doll from Hell is a film about trauma.
Trauma. Yep. Like every horror movie.
It's a film about trauma in the black community, because the trauma of having a fucking a Rick James doll.
A fucking doll dick you down, and then you get addicted.
The dick was so good.
You get addicted to it. Okay.
A dick? Oh shit. Okay.
Anyway, enough
That's gonna be
about
the last
Black Devil Doll. That might be the last time we ever mention it.
No, unfortunately, because at the end of the 84, we will have to do a best of the.
I would be shocked if there's something worse than that. I'd be legitimately shocked. I don't think there will be.
No.
I don't think there will be.
Oh no.
But anyway, shitty. Okay, so we need to get back on track. Ghost Warrior, shitty to pretty. I'm giving it a 9.
Fuck you.
Is that what you're giving it?
Fuck off.
Our scores are
I
always.
was literally gonna give it I thought you were gonna give it like a 10, and I'd be like, bitch, I'm original. I give it a 9.
I don't think we. Maybe someone could track this. I don't think we've ever disagreed on the score.
Well, here's the thing: we may have had like at one point, at one movie, like a 1 point differential.
I swear to God, like maybe shitty to pretty just boring because everyone's like, oh yeah, they're just gonna rate it the fucking same.
Fuck off. But there has never been a movie where we've like actually been like, no, I liked it.
I don't think there's ever. Yeah, I don't think we've ever like disagreed on whether a movie's good or bad.
No, every movie. Shockingly, 200 goddamn movies in.
And we generally always agree that either it's complete shit or good.
That 90% of them, maybe more, we've literally given the exact same number rating.
Yeah. Some of you may think that Shitty to Pretty doesn't need to be involved in our reviews because we literally give it the same score every single time. But you know what? I'd say you're fucking wrong, and it's still entertaining. So we're going to keep it in.
Because you get this nonsense. And
because who doesn't love just a good score? Like
it's
you're watching
cherry on top.
You're watching a review. You need a score.
Yeah, like
we can't just talk about it and not give it a rating or a score.
It's like, Siskel and Ebert had their thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, you just need a score.
We have our thing.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter because this movie's more than 30 fucking years old.
And I would argue pretty much every fucking film in existence is entirely subjective to whether you're going to like it or not. Because there's some goddamn awful shit that other people love, and I just don't fucking understand why.
And yeah, there's
stuff that I like that everyone else fucking hates.
Like Ghost Warrior.
Yeah, like Ghost Warrior.
This has a 5.2 on IMDb.
And there's a lot of bad reviews. But again, it's subjective. Everyone loves a good scoring, so we're going to fucking keep it in.
We're going to keep doing it. And you know that Shitty to Pretty is...
I don't know why we're going off on a tangent of Shitty to Pretty.
Shitty to Pretty is a trademark of ours.
It is.
Because it's not like a normal rating. It's our rating. And you can't take that from us.
You can't take it.
You can't take it. It's our baby. You can't take it.
If you really think about it, does it really make sense? No. But who cares?
Does this podcast make sense?
No.
No. This is some nonsense we came up with when we were drunk.
Two fucking idiot nerds in a room just reviewing movies.
We came up with this one day. Listen, maybe one day in the future, you will have the lore that led to this. Not now. But one day in the future.
I can promise you it's not very interesting, but you can have it if you...
But listen, I'll give you a little cock tease that might pay off in like 20 years or something. I don't know. But one day you might have the lore of what led to this nonsense. And it involved, I will tell you, it involved much beer consumed. Okay?
We can also tell you the very boring reason why we named it They Mostly Come Out at Night. But again, later.
I mean, if you're a nerd...
You know.
And you know what kind of movies we have on this podcast, I think you can put it together. But we'll leave it. One day.
You should know. But if you don't, maybe one day.
If you don't, what do people say, Will? It's not my job to educate you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why this tangent happened. Maybe the liquor was flowing a little bit better today. I don't know. Anyway,
listen, I'm not naming names.
It's tangent time.
I'm not naming names, but we consumed, like the filthy consumer sheep that we are. We consumed a pumpkin ale, and that was a beer, mind you, and we consumed a apple cinnamon seltzer, and they were delicious.
Fuck it, I'm gonna name them because they were good.
How dare you?
We're not sponsored, by the way. Although if you want to, please do. Upslope Brewing, Boulder, Colorado, pumpkin ale, really good. And then Press. I know we're basic. It's fine. Press apple cinnamon. Holy shit.
See, I don't know if Press is basic enough. If you said White Claw, I think White Claw is the go-to basic one.
Press is pretty basic, I would say, but yeah, you're right. White Claw is way more basic. But anyway, apple cinnamon Press. Try it. It's fucking fall in a seltzer.
It is October.
It's great. It is October. I'll post them even on the Instas. Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And the Facebooks.
You'll do.
We're not
socials.
We're not. Yeah, I'll post them on the socials. We're not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. Although if you want to, I will drink as much Press as you want me to, and I will advertise the shit out of it.
I mean, listen, we live in
Upslope. I know you might be a smaller brewery, but if you want to, we will also drink as much as humanly possible of your beer if you pay us to do so.
If it leads to us getting beer sent to us.
Even if you just want to care package us, like that'd be fine.
Please, because our the state we live in hates freedom, and we're like the only state that you can't do that in. So if you want to do that to us, Please.
That'd be pretty badass. I don't know how Utah handles those kind of things, like advertisement care packaging. I don't think we can get alcohol, even from like companies.
Maybe we'll open up a P.O. box in a neighboring state. And then once a month, we'll have to do a little, an old-fashioned fucking bootleg liquor run.
Maybe that's why we haven't been sponsored. Everyone's like, okay, where are they at? Let's see. Oh, Utah? Ooh, I don't know if I can do that.
Prohibition's rough, man.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like fucking Al Capone.
Seriously. We have to fucking put a P.O. box in another state to even get fucking liquor. Or beer.
Yeah, beer.
We don't drink.
We're not talking liquor.
Yeah, we don't drink liquor on this podcast.
Beer. I don't drink. No, we don't drink liquor. Except you did consume liquor when we were doing Uwe Bowl, but I do not blame you for that.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if we do anything like that, like a deep dive again, I might go back to that, but I don't think we will. So
I am never doing a deep dive again. I literally wanted to kill myself.
Yeah, that deep dive was awful.
Because the reason we did that was because of the notoriety.
That's true. Yeah, sorry. The Ghost Warrior review went a little quicker than like we thought, so we're just gonna like talk for a minute.
I think we're good.
I think we're to the end point. I don't think we have any more bookkeeping things to go over.
No, the accounting is good.
Also, thank you for everyone that's posted comments on our Facebook page.
Yes.
And left like suggestions, reviews. We really appreciate it. I just want to like say that again. We're finally getting people actually reaching out, which is really cool. Like, I mean, we've been doing this for what, 4 or 5 years now?
Longer than I care to think.
And like it took a while. I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of radio silence for a long time.
We're nobodies, so yes.
And so like to get people actually interacting with us, even if it's just a few people, like that speaks volumes.
The fact that anybody cares to comment on the nonsense that two complete nobodies say is
because honestly, I'll even admit it now, like we barely know what the fuck we're doing. We're just two idiots in a room just talking about bad movies.
We just happen to like movies. Like that's literally all it comes down to. That's all it is.
Like this is like total trial by error, but we have a blast doing it, and I hope you guys have a blast listening to it. Like we really appreciate everyone. And I don't know, like here's to like 200 more.
Listen, fuck it, 2,000.
Yeah, we'll keep doing this.
There's so many movies.
I'm just gonna fucking keep doing this till I'm fucking 6 feet under. Like really.
Exactly.
So like we're not going anywhere. We hope you guys are continuing to enjoy the growth and like where we're going. I'm pretty excited about everything. So I just wanted to say that real quick. I'm feeling a little sentimental, so thank you. Thank you everyone for that. I don't know. That's all I have, really. Just kind of wanted to go off on a tangent about shit and then get all sentimental to our followers.
Wrap back around to it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good note to end it on. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Will.
This has been Alex.
We are They Mostly Come Out at Night, and we will talk to you all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Like the samurai. The way of Bushido.
Also, please, for the love of God, if you don't know who he is, go check out Toshihiro Mafune. Please.
Yes. Seven Samurai.
Please, do yourself a favor. Why are you listening to the podcast? Go watch Seven Samurai or Yojimbo.
Anything.
Go do it.
Something.
High and low. Rashomon. Fucking Throne of Blood.